At 2:17 a.m., I realized my daughter had married a thief. It wasn't a guess. It was a click, like a light switch catching a spark. The house breathed that suburban silence. Wet grass outside, the hum of a neighbor's AC unit, a freight train far off across the river. I was lying there, wide awake, counting the seconds between the old floorboards creaking. And in the dark, I whispered to myself, barely moving my lips, "Don't blink, soldier." Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. Earlier that evening, the picture looked perfect. Aurora set roasted chicken on the table, proud she'd finally mastered her mom's recipe. Roderick smiled like he'd practiced in the mirror. I placed the plates the way I always did, army neat, edges aligned. "Good day, Dad," Aurora asked. "Quiet," I told her, at least until it started. Roderick chuckled. "Well, let's kick it off then. I heard you've got a safe in the basement. Pretty cool. Old coins, medals, just a lilac pressed in the Bible," I said, "and a few letters from people who remember I'm still alive." He didn't look away. That smile of his had nothing behind it. "What about home insurance?" he pushed. "Security system? I mean, sure, the neighborhood's quiet, but you read the news, break-ins everywhere." "The news says a lot of things," I answered. I listened to the walls. Aurora shot me that look, "Dad, don't start." I didn't start. I watched. His fingers tapped on the table, steady, rhythmic. Not nerves, memory. Like a guy rehearsing a floor plan. Windows, locks, routines. When he raised his glass, I raised my brow. "To family," he said with a wink, "and to a good night's sleep." "My sleep's solid without whiskey," I told him. "Keep it for breakfast." Aurora gave a small smile. "Dad's on meds." Roderick nodded a little too quick. "Of course. Health comes first." After dinner, I washed dishes. They went upstairs to the guest room. The water whispered in the sink, while the vents carried voices from a hallway. Broken words, but enough. "Work, deadline, don't worry, tomorrow." I went up last. My bedroom door stood cracked open, just a sliver. I always closed it, always as a figure of speech. It's a habit that kept me alive in places a lot darker than this cul-de-sac. The nightstand looked the same, but the second drawer, no, not pushed in flush. A smudge where someone's thumb had pressed too hard. I pulled it open. Paper smelled of dust and old routine. Land records, letters from my unit, receipts nobody cared about but me. The little strip of tape where I kept a key tucked out of sight, torn clean off. The key was gone. I sat on the edge of the bed, palm flat on my chest, feeling the engine inside me. Not fear, rage, cold and metallic. I slid a small flashlight from under the mattress, clicked it halfway, checked the safe's code in my head, muscle memory, and put it back. The door was still ajar. I walked to the gap and peered into the hall. Empty. The house smelled of chicken, lemon polish, and something else. Sharp, foreign, a cheap cologne meant to cover cigarettes. I crept halfway down the stairs and pressed my ear to the vent. Old houses talk, if you know how to listen. Below, the TV flickered faintly, can laughter rolling like smoke. I was about to head back up, lock my door, when I heard it. A voice. That voice with a rehearsed smile. "Yeah, it's me. Everyone's asleep." Silence. Then lower, like he thought even the drywall was listening. "I've got the key. Tomorrow night we're in. The old man won't see it coming." I didn't move, didn't breathe. My hand found a banister, steady as I'd trained it to be before a jump. Inside, everything went hollow and still, like a concrete bunker. "Look," Roderick whispered. "It's an older safe, has a manual override. I'll explain the rest tomorrow. Yeah, the debt's the same. I'll handle it. I've got a plan." The TV laugh track lined up with his own short laugh. The laugh of a man who's already spent money he doesn't have. I glanced back up at my door. That 1-inch crack between me and whatever was coming. And then I heard it. The stare. My stare. The one nobody knows but me. The one that always groans when a foot presses down. It was groaning now. Not under me. Coming up. That stare should have only grown under me. I'd lived in this house for 25 years. I knew every sound it made, every knot in the wood. Hearing it cry out in the middle of the night meant one thing. Someone else was climbing toward my room. I froze halfway up the staircase, holding my breath until the air burned in my chest. Another creak followed, closer this time. Roderick's weight. I could picture his cautious face, jaw clenched, eyes darting to make sure Aurora hadn't stirred. I slipped back into my bedroom like a shadow and eased onto the bed, pulling the covers up. My body screamed for action, but my mind whispered the word that kept me alive through firefights and ambushes. Patience. The door inched open, just enough for me to catch the silhouette. Broad shoulders, careful steps. He paused, staring at what he thought was his sleeping father-in-law. I slowed my breathing, let it drag like the long sigh of an old man worn out from pills. He bought it. Roderick crept inside. His shoes brushed the carpet. Barely a sound. He moved straight to the dresser, the same drawer I found out of place earlier. He didn't hesitate. Hand slid to it open, slow, silent. I heard the rasp of folders shifting, the faint ring of keys as he pulled something from his pocket. My key. He leaned in, reaching. I could almost feel the hunger rolling off him, the way desperate men smell when they're about to grab at something that doesn't belong to them. My hand twitched toward the lamp switch. One flick, and I'd blind him in a flood of light. But no, that would give me only confrontation, not proof. Proof is what Aurora would need. Instead, I memorized every motion. His breath quickened when he touched the inside of the drawer, probably searching for the hidden latch. His whisper slipped out. Almost there. Then he froze. For a moment, the silence thickened, heavy as wet concrete. He shut the drawer halfway, backed out of the room, and closed the door without a sound. I stayed still, counting to 60. Only then did I rise, padding barefoot to the vent above the living room. A minute later his voice floated up, hushed and urgent. Yeah, I was in. It's there. Bank statements, retirement accounts, the whole thing. He's loaded. Tomorrow night, she's at book club. Perfect timing. My blood turned to ice. He wasn't just snooping. He was plotting. And worse, he wasn't working alone. I slid back into bed, heart pounding against my ribs like a war drum. Sleep? Impossible. I stared at the ceiling until the first gray light of dawn slipped through the blinds. At breakfast, Aurora hummed as she set down a plate of pancakes. She looked rested, happy. Roderick came down freshly showered, hair slick, face shining with the calm of a man who had already made up his mind. "Morning," he said, too cheerful. "Sleep well, Titus?" Like a rock, I lied, sipping coffee. Didn't hear a thing. He smirked just enough for me to see it. Good. It's important to rest, especially at your age. Aurora rolled her eyes. "Roderick, that's rude." He chuckled, brushing it off. "No, I mean it. Older folks need good sleep. Otherwise, memory slips." He glanced at me then, eyes sharp, watching for a reaction. He wanted me to doubt myself, to second-guess what I'd noticed in that drawer. I smiled instead, steady and calm. "Don't worry," I said. "My memory's sharp enough to remember what matters." Aurora looked between us, sensing tension she couldn't name. She changed the subject to the library fundraiser. But I never took my eyes off him, and he never stopped studying me. That night, I set my phone on the nightstand, voice recorder armed. No more doubts, no more pretending. If he opened his mouth, I'd have his words carved in digital stone. At 11:42, the house whispered alive again. Floorboards shifted. Footsteps crept across the living room. I pressed the phone closer, waiting. Then his voice bled through the vent, clearer this time. "Yeah, it's me. Listen, the old man's out cold. I've got the override key. Tomorrow night, when she's gone, we're in. Cash, jewelry, all of it. I'll settle the debt. Don't worry." The call ended. Silence swallowed the house. I gripped the phone tight, pulse hammering. The evidence was mine. And then, the bedroom door handle began to turn. The door handle stilled. Whoever had touched it must have thought better of stepping in. A long moment passed. Then footsteps retreated down the hall. The guest room door closed. Silence returned. I lay there, heart pounding, phone clutched in my hand with his words still fresh on the recording. Override tomorrow night. She's gone. Tomorrow. He'd said it plain. When dawn finally came, I was already downstairs, the smell of coffee sharp in the kitchen. Aurora patted in, robe wrapped tight, rubbing her eyes. Morning, Dad. Morning, sweetheart. Pancakes again. She grinned. You know me too well. I tried to keep my face easy, calm. But every word out of my mouth was calculated. You sleeping all right? Like a baby. Roderick, though, he said he stayed up late watching TV. I nodded. Guess some people just don't rest easy. She frowned at that, but let it pass. 20 minutes later, he walked in, freshly showered, clean-shaven, eyes bright. Predators know how to mask themselves in daylight. Beautiful morning, Roderick said, pouring coffee. What's everybody got planned? Errands, I told him. Might swing by the hardware store. Maybe the bank. His smile flickered, quick as lightning. Everything all right financially? Aurora laughed. Dad's old school. He likes to check his accounts in person. Paranoid, huh, Dad? Not paranoid. I said evenly. Careful. 30 years of habit. Sure, he replied too quickly. Can't be too careful these days. Identity theft, scams, it's a jungle out there for someone your age. That last line was a jab, sugar-coated with concern. I smiled anyway. He thought he was the wolf. But I'd dealt with wolves before. By afternoon, I had my window. Aurora was upstairs folding laundry. Roderick muttered something about job calls and stepped outside with his phone. I slipped my jacket on and left. First stop, Walmart. Party supplies aisle. I walked out with a spring-loaded confetti cannon and a bag of glitter, silver and gold, the kind that clings to everything. Folks in line probably thought I was headed to a birthday. In a way, I was. Next, Best Buy. A young clerk with a neck tattoo asked what I needed. Something discreet. I told him. Wireless. Good night vision. Motion activated. He nodded like he'd heard it 100 times. Lot of break-ins lately. This one's solid. I paid cash. Old habits. Back home, Aurora was in the garden. Roderick was pacing the driveway on his phone. He didn't even look at me when I carried the bag inside. Perfect. Upstairs, I set to work. First, a confetti cannon. I dismantled it on my desk, replaced the paper streamers with a storm of glitter, tested the trigger with a ruler, bam. A sparkling explosion filled the drawer. Reset. Perfect. Next, I staged a bait, a fake brass key from an old luggage lock, set right where greedy fingers would grab it. Behind it, the glitter bomb waited, silent and patient. Then the camera. I tested angles with the app on my phone until I found the perfect shot. Hidden between books on my nightstand. Lens pointed at the dresser. Motion detection on. Night vision crisp. Every sound, every move, recorded. By the time I was done, the house looked exactly as it had. To anyone else, it was just a neat old man's bedroom. But I knew better. This wasn't a bedroom anymore. It was a stage. And I had written the script. At dinner that night, Aurora chattered about her book club, while I played the part of tired father, rubbing my temples, sipping water. Roderick kept checking his phone, thumb tapping, eyes restless. He was waiting for time to pass. After we cleared dishes, he leaned in with that practiced smile. Titus, what do you say we have a nightcap? That Macallan in your kitchen looks too good to waste. I shook my head. Medication doesn't mix with whiskey. One sip won't hurt, he pressed. Aurora frowned. Roderick, if Dad says no, respect it. His jaw tightened just for a heartbeat. Then he forced a grin. Of course. Just thought we could toast. To family. I stood slowly, playing the weary man. Think I'll turn in early tonight. These pills knock me out. By the time you two hit the pillows, I'll be dead to the world. I caught the flicker in his eyes. Relief. Excitement. He believed me. Upstairs, I checked the trap one last time, tested the camera feed, and lay down fully clothed. Door cracked just enough to see the hall. At 2:43 a.m., the first stair creaked. And this time I was ready. I lay still, covers pulled to my chest, phone glowing faintly under my pillow. The camera feed showed my empty bedroom, waiting like a trap in the dark. My breathing was steady, the way I'd trained it long ago. Slow in, slow out, don't break the rhythm. The hallway floor whispered. Then the door handle turned, slower than a heartbeat. The door cracked open. Roderick's shadow slipped inside, black against the dim nightlight glow. He froze for a moment, studying me. I didn't move, didn't blink. Satisfied, he padded toward the dresser, every motion careful, rehearsed. He crouched, fingers sliding along the edge of the second drawer, the one that had always held the real key. "Come on, baby," he whispered under his breath, the kind of whisper men use when they think the world belongs to them. The drawer slid open. His hand reached inside, straight toward the fake brass key I'd left in plain sight. His fingers curled around it. And then, boom! The sound was glorious, like a 4th of July firecracker detonating in my bedroom. A golden cloud exploded upward, glitter raining down in a storm. Roderick staggered back, coughing, covered head to toe in sparkling dust. His hair shimmered, his shirt blazed silver under the lamplight. I suddenly snapped on. I sat up, feigning shock. "What on earth?" He spun toward me, eyes wide, face a disco ball of guilt. Glitter drifted off him like snow in a snow globe. In his hand, the fake key gleamed. "Roderick," I said, letting confusion coat my voice, "what are you doing in my bedroom?" He stammered, glitter still falling with every twitch. I heard a noise. Thought someone was breaking in. "Breaking in?" I repeated, blinking. "And somehow you ended up shining like a Christmas ornament?" Before he could answer, Aurora's footsteps thundered down the hall. She burst in, robe half-tied, eyes frantic. "Dad? Are you okay?" Then she froze. Her gaze landed on Roderick, covered in confetti and glitter, standing over my open drawer like a burglar who'd lost his mask. "Roderick, what the hell?" Her voice cracked, sharp with disbelief. "There was, some kind of trap," he muttered, pawing at his clothes. "I was just checking." "Checking what?" she demanded. "Medicine," he blurted. "For you?" You were tossing and turning. Aurora's brow furrowed, voice rising. "So you came into my father's bedroom at 3 a.m. to rummage through his dresser?" Her eyes shifted to me. "Dad, do you have security devices in your furniture?" I widened my eyes like a baffled old man. "Not that I know of, sweetheart. I was asleep until this explosion woke me." The silence was thick, broken only by Roderick's frantic attempts to brush glitter from his skin. Each swipe left more sparkle. Aurora stared at him, like she was seeing him for the first time. "Tell me the truth," she said quietly, deadly. "Why were you in his drawer?" Roderick's jaw clenched. "I was just, look, it's not what it looks like." Aurora's voice cut through him. "It looks like you were robbing my father." His eyes darted between us, desperation replacing bravado. "Aurora, please, you've got to trust me." "Trust," she hissed. "After this?" I knew this was a moment. Her world was cracking open. She'd need more than glitter to see the truth. She'd need his own words. I reached for the phone on my nightstand, thumb hovering over the recording from the night before. "Sweetheart," I said gently, my eyes locked on hers, "there's something you need to hear." Aurora turned to me, eyes wide. Roderick's face drained of color beneath the glitter. He lunged forward, hand outstretched. "Don't you dare play that." Roderick's glitter-soaked hand shot toward me, fingers spread like a man grabbing for the last rope before he drowns. I slid my phone behind me, my thumb steady on the screen. "Don't," he hissed, voice low and edged with panic. "Aurora, he's twisting this." He's setting me up?" Aurora's eyes flicked between us. She was still clutching her robe at the collar, face pale, trying to make sense of the absurd scene. Her husband glowing like a parade float, her father sitting calm as Sunday service. "Dad," she whispered, "what is this about?" I met her eyes, calm, steady, just like briefing a jury. "Sweetheart," I said, "last night I heard something, and I recorded it. It's better you hear his own words than mine." "No." Roderick barked. Glitter rained from his hair as he shook his head. He's paranoid, Aurora. You know how old people get. He probably misheard something on TV, recorded static. Be quiet, Aurora snapped, sharper than I'd ever heard her. Her gaze turned to me. Play it, Dad. So I did. The room filled with his voice. Crisp, clear, no denying it. Yeah, it's me. Everyone's asleep. The old man's definitely loaded. I found bank statements, investment portfolios, the whole thing. We're talking serious money. Aurora's lips parted, disbelief carving lines into her face. Roderick stammered. No, that's not. The recording rolled on. Tomorrow night, when Aurora's at book club, it's perfect timing. I've already got the safe key. Aurora gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth. She stared at him like he was a stranger. You plan to rob my father? Baby, no. Roderick shouted, stepping forward. That was just talk. I was venting. You know me, I run my mouth. But the recording didn't stop. Look, I know you're worried about the timeline, but my gambling debts aren't going away. Those guys aren't exactly patient, if you know what I mean. Gambling debts. Aurora's voice cracked, shaking. What debts? Roderick froze. His silence said more than words. The recording kept cutting deeper. David's just some lonely old widower, probably grateful for the company. He has no idea what's coming. The beauty is he'll never suspect family. Even if he figures something's missing, Aurora will convince him he just misplaced it. Her knees buckled, and she caught the doorframe for balance. Tears welled in her eyes as she listened to her husband describe her as a cover story, a pawn. Finally, the recording ended. Silence dropped heavy in the room. Aurora turned to him, face streaked with tears. You call my father a fool. You were going to use me to cover your theft. He raised his hands, desperate. Aurora, please, I can explain. No, she cried, voice raw. Don't you dare say another word. I watched her shoulders stiffen, her breathing sharpen, the shift from shock to fury. For the first time, she wasn't defending him. She was defending me. Roderick saw it too. His mask slipped. Panic surged across his glitter-streaked face. He pointed a trembling finger at me. This is your fault. You turned her against me. You think you're some kind of hero, but you're just an old man hiding behind toys and tricks. You ruined my life. Aurora stepped in front of me, her voice trembling but strong. No, Roderick, you ruined it yourself. The three of us stood there in that bedroom, the air buzzing with betrayal and rage. My daughter facing her husband. My son-in-law cornered desperate, still coated in the evidence of his own greed. Then, from somewhere deep in the house, came a sound that froze us all. A knock at the front door. Not gentle, not polite, a pounding. 3 hard thuds, steady and deliberate. Roderick's eyes went wide with terror. And in that instant I knew whoever he owed money to had finally come collecting. 3 knocks. Heavy, deliberate. Not the kind of knock that says neighbor with cookies. The kind that says we know you're inside. Aurora jumped, clutching her robe tighter. Who's knocking at this hour? Roderick's face drained, glitter catching the lamplight like sweat. His mouth opened, but no sound came. Then another 3 thuds. Louder. I stood, my voice low and steady. Stay here. Roderick lurched forward, panic in his eyes. No, don't open it. Aurora rounded on him. Why not? Who is it, Roderick? He didn't answer. He couldn't. The silence was enough. I moved to the hallway. Old bones or not, 30 years in the service doesn't let you forget how to walk quiet. Each step was measured, soundless against the carpet. I paused at the top of the stairs, listening. From below came a voice. Deep, impatient. Roderick, we know you're in there. Aurora gasped behind me. Dad, what's happening? I didn't take my eyes off him, my glittering son-in-law, frozen like a man watching the gallows being built. You want to tell her, I said softly, or should I? His lips trembled. They're no one. Just friends. Friends don't pound on doors at 3 a.m, I said. The voice boomed again, this time rattling the door. You got until the count of 5, Roddy. After that, we come in. Aurora whispered, almost to herself. Oh my God. Roderick snapped, spinning toward her. It's not what you think. I just owe them. It's complicated. Complicated? She shot back, fire in her eyes. You lied to me for months, and now you've dragged him to my father's house? 4, the man outside roared. I stepped down 2 stairs, raising my voice enough to carry. Wrong house. You've got the wrong man. The porch went silent. Then a low chuckle. No mistake, old man. We know exactly where we are. Behind me, Roderick whispered. Don't antagonize them. Aurora glared. You brought them here. I turned, keeping my voice steady, the way you do when you've got 2 minutes to keep a situation from spiraling. Aurora, go to my room. Lock the door. I'm not leaving you. Do it. She hesitated, tore between fear and loyalty. Finally, she nodded and disappeared down the hall, her footsteps quick. That left me and the coward dripping glitter in my hallway. 3. Roderick grabbed my arm, desperation in his grip. You don't understand. They're dangerous. If they think I don't have the money. I yanked my arm free. I understand more than you think. You made your bed. Now they've come to lay you in it. Please, Titus. Please don't let them in. Why should I protect you? His voice cracked. Because if they don't get me, they'll take it out on all of us. 1. The house shook with the final count. Then silence. For a beat, all I heard was my own breath. The night pressing around us. Roderick's glitter-streaked face was pale, eyes wild. And then, the front door handle began to turn. The handle twisted once. Slowly. Testing. I stood halfway down the stairs, my hand resting on the banister. Roderick crouched near the hallway wall, trembling, his glitter-covered face shining in the dark like a beacon of guilt. The deadbolt held. For now. A voice outside, low and smooth, like gravel under a tire. Roderick, open the damn door. Don't make this harder. Roderick's whisper hissed behind me. Don't answer. Please, Titus. Just let them leave. Leave. I muttered. They didn't drive out here at 3 in the morning to leave. Another fist slammed against the door. The wood groaned. Aurora's voice floated from upstairs, tight with fear. Dad? What's going on? Stay in the room. I called back. My voice was steady, but my heart was hammering. Roderick scrambled to his feet. I'll talk to them. Maybe I can buy time. I stepped in front of him. The last thing you're doing is opening that door. You don't get it, he cried, eyes wild. These guys, if they think I ran, they'll torch the place. They don't care about her, about you, about anyone. I can fix this. You can't fix anything. I shot back. You've been drowning for months. The only thing you can do now is shut your mouth and let me handle this. A pause outside. Then the sound of keys jingling. My gut tightened. Roderick went pale. Oh, God, they got a lockpick. They always do. That's when I moved. Quiet as I could, I slipped into the hall closet and pulled the old Louisville slugger from behind the coats. A relic from softball games long past, heavy enough to make a point. The door rattled. Metal scraped against metal. They were working the lock. I set my jaw, glanced at Roderick. You're gonna stay put. You move, I swear, I'll put you down myself before they do. He swallowed hard and nodded, but I didn't trust him an inch. The final click sounded. The deadbolt gave way. The door creaked open, and 2 men filled the doorway. Not boys, not amateurs. Men. One tall and lean with a shaved head and tattoos crawling up his neck. The other thick through the chest, a broken nose set crooked, eyes flat as steel. The taller one stepped in first, scanning the living room like a predator checking for traps. His eyes landed on me. Well, this the old man. Behind me, Roderick whimpered. Please, just give me more time. The heavy one grinned. Time's what you're out of, Roddy. We warned you. I gripped the bat tighter, kept my stance relaxed. Not aggressive. Not yet. You've made your point, I said calmly. You're in my house now. That means you play by my rules. The tall one smirked. Cute. You think you're in charge. He took another step inside. The big one followed, shutting the door behind him with a deliberate click. Aurora's voice trembled from upstairs. Dad, stay upstairs. I barked, never taking my eyes off the two wolves now standing in my living room. The tall one chuckled. You hear that, Roddy? Daddy's trying to save the day. Real noble. But we didn't come for him. We came for you. Roderick stepped out from the shadows. Hands raised, glitter still catching the lamplight like a cruel joke. Look, I've got something, okay? A key to a safe. Cash, papers, whatever you need. Just don't hurt anyone. The big one's eyes narrowed. Key, huh? Sounds promising. I felt the blood drain from my face. He was going to hand to my life savings. Everything I'd worked for, every medal, every piece of history. Before I could stop him, Roderick reached into his pocket and held up the brass key I'd planted, the fake one. This will get you everything, he said, voice shaking. Just give me until tomorrow to pull the rest together. The tall man snatched the key, turning it over in his hand. His grin widened. Tomorrow? Nah, we're not waiting. You're opening that safe tonight. And that's when my phone, still hidden in my pocket, buzzed with a notification. The motion-activated camera upstairs had gone live. Someone else was moving in my bedroom. The buzz in my pocket was subtle, but I knew exactly what it meant. The bedroom camera I planted had gone live. Something or someone was moving upstairs. But downstairs, I had two wolves in my living room, and a coward bleeding glitter standing behind me. The tall one dangled the fake brass key between his fingers like a prize. Where's the safe, old man? It's my house, I said evenly, and you're already on the wrong side of the door. The big one smirked, taking a step closer. We didn't ask for a sermon. We asked for a safe. Behind me, Roderick's voice cracked. It's upstairs in his bedroom closet. I swear everything's in there. I turned my head slowly, drilling him with my stare. You just handed him my house on a platter. His face was pure panic. It's the only way they'll leave. The tall one chuckled. Listen to Roddy. He knows how this works. The big guy cracked his knuckles, then jerked his head toward the stairs. Let's go. Roddy leads away. Aurora's voice floated down the hallway, tight with fear. Dad? What's happening? Stay put. I barked, sharper than I meant to. The last thing I needed was her caught in this mess. But then, another ding from my phone. The camera feed was still live. I slid the screen out just enough to peek. The night vision showed my bedroom and a figure. Not Aurora. Not Roderick. Someone else, already searching my dresser drawers. My stomach nodded. A third player had entered the game. The tall one noticed the glow from my pocket. What's that? He asked, eyes narrowing. Pacemaker, I said dryly, tucking the phone deeper into my pocket. Keeps me ticking. He snorted. Cute. Move. The big one shoved Roderick toward the stairs. Glitter trailed in his wake like breadcrumbs. He stumbled, nearly fell, then looked back at me with pure terror. I swear, Titus, if they don't find what they're looking for, they'll find more than they bargained for, I muttered under my breath. Step by step, we moved up the staircase. My grip tightened on the Louisville Slugger. My mind ran hot and fast. Two collectors at my back, my daughter locked in a room, and someone unknown already tearing through my safe. Halfway up, the tall man grabbed Roderick by the collar. No tricks. You open that safe, and maybe you walk out with both kneecaps. I need the key, Roderick stammered, holding out the fake brass one. The big man grinned. Then let's see if Daddy's treasure chest opens. We reached the landing. The hallway stretched ahead, dim nightlight casting long shadows. At the far end, my bedroom door cracked open wider now. Movement flickered inside. Aurora's muffled voice from behind her locked door. Dad? Please answer me. Stay quiet. I called, keeping my eyes on the open doorway. The tall one shoved Roderick forward. Go on. Show us. Roderick's legs wobbled like wet paper. He shuffled ahead, glitter drifting off him with every step. And then it happened. From my bedroom, a man stepped into the hallway. Not Roderick. Not anyone I knew. He was dressed in black, face half covered, and in his hands, my real safe key. The collectors froze. The tall one's grin slipped. Who the hell is this? Aurora screamed from behind her door. Roderick went white as chalk, and I realized in one awful heartbeat that my trap had worked too well. There weren't just wolves in my house. There were jackals, too. The man in black filled the hallway like a shadow cut loose from the night. The safe key glinted in his hand, catching the dim light. His eyes scanned us quick, me, Roderick, the two collectors, and then locked on the tall one. "You're late," he said. Voice calm, steady. The tall collector's face darkened. "We don't know you." The man in black tilted his head, smirk creeping across his face. "Doesn't matter. I know him." He jabbed the key toward Roderick. "Roddy here has been making promises he can't keep." Roderick shook his head furiously, backing against the wall. Glitter fell from him like guilty stardust. No, I don't know this guy." "I swear, Titus, I don't know him." "Save it," I growled. My grip on the bat tightened. My camera feed had caught him rifling through my drawers. He wasn't here by accident. The big collector stepped forward, voice like a growl. "Key's ours. Hand it over." The man in black chuckled, low and humorless. "See, that's where you're wrong. Roderick owes everyone. And when everybody's owed, it comes down to who's smart enough to collect first." Aurora's muffled voice came sharp from behind her locked door. "Dad, what's happening out there?" I raised my voice, never looking away from the three wolves circling each other. "Stay inside, Aurora. Don't open that door no matter what." The tall collector raised his gun hand. God, I've been waiting for it. A compact Glock, black and cold, aim at the intruder. "You've got 5 seconds to put that key in my hand." The man in black smirked wider. Funny, I was about to say the same thing. He reached under his jacket. For a heartbeat, the air went still, like the house itself was holding its breath. I stepped forward, bat in hand, voice hard. "You idiots fire that thing in my house, and you'll answer to me." The tall one sneered. "Old man, you're already dead. The only question is whether we make it quick." Roderick whimpered. Please, let's just..." "Shut up." All three of us barked at once. That's when the man in black moved, faster than I expected. He whipped out his own pistol, leveling it right at Roderick. "He's the reason we're all here," he said coldly. "Why not end the middleman?" Aurora screamed from behind the door. "N.O." My instincts kicked in. 30 years of training flooded back like lightning down a wire. I swung the bat up, stepping between Roderick and the intruder. The metal felt solid, alive in my hands. The tall collector shifted his aim toward me. The big one reached for something tucked in his belt. The man in black steadied his shot, and Roderick, God help him, bolted. He shoved past me, tripped on his own feet, and scrambled toward my bedroom like a rat heading for a hole. "Stop him," the tall collector roared. The intruder fired. The shot cracked like thunder. I swung the bat, knocking the tall man's arm sideways as his gun went off. A lamp exploded, showering sparks across the hallway. Aurora screamed again. Chaos. Pure chaos. The intruder sprinted after Roderick. The collectors raised their guns. I tightened my grip on the bat, knowing I had one chance to tip the scales. And then, from the guest room down the hall, another door creaked open. Aurora's silhouette stepped out, defiant, shaking, but standing in the line of fire. Aurora stepped out of the guest room, her robe loose at the shoulders, hair wild from sleep. She was shaking, but her chin was high, eyes blazing. "Enough!" she shouted. Her voice cracked, but the courage was real. The hallway froze. 3 guns hovered in the dark like sharks, circling blood. Roderick had vanished into my bedroom, the intruder right behind him. The 2 collectors stood tense, one aiming at me, the other ready to draw. And now my daughter, my only child, was standing in the kill zone. "Aurora," my voice was a whip. "Get back inside, lock the door." She shook her head, her hands trembling but raised in defiance. "No, not this time. I'm done hiding while men with lies and guns run my life." The tall collector smirked, his weapon still trained on me. Well, ain't this sweet? Family drama in the middle of business. Shut your mouth, I barked. The big one gestured at her with his chin. Roddy's girl, right? She's got guts. Shame guts don't pay debts. Aurora's voice wavered but held. Take whatever you want from him, but you leave my father alone. The tall man chuckled. Lady, it doesn't work like that. He's got the safe. He's got the goods. Your husband promised us. And guess what? Promises don't come free. Ex-husband, Aurora snapped. The moment he dragged trash like you to this house, he stopped being anything to me. Her words cut the air sharper than any blade. The tall collector tilted his head, amused. Feisty. I like her. I took one step forward, bat raised. You so much as breathe wrong in her direction, and I'll cave your skull in. His grin faded. The Glock centered on my chest. You first, Grandpa. Behind us came a crash. Metal on wood. The sound of my dresser drawers being ripped apart. The intruder was tearing through my room, hunting the safe. Roderick's voice carried, panicked and high. Wait, don't. I can open it. I swear, just let me. The intruder barked back. Shut up and move. The tall collector's eyes flicked toward the bedroom door. For the first time, uncertainty cracked his mask. That ain't one of ours. No kidding, I muttered. The big one cursed. How many goddamn vultures are feeding on this carcass? Aurora flinched at the word, but her eyes never left me. I could see it. The trust, fragile but there, the moment I'd been waiting for. She finally understood who the real enemy was. Dad, she whispered, voice breaking. What do we do? I didn't blink. We survive. The tall collector motioned with his gun. Enough chit-chat. Old man, you're coming with us. You open that safe, or we'll start picking targets. And guess who's first? His barrel swung toward Aurora. I stepped in front of her, chest out, bat tight in my hands. My pulse roared, but my voice was calm. You'll have to go through me. The big one drew his pistol at last. Now 2 barrels glared at me, the smell of oil and gunpowder sharp in the air. From my bedroom came another slam, then the unmistakable beep, beep, beep of a safe being punched with numbers. The intruder had found it. Aurora gasped. Dad? I didn't turn my head. My voice was low, steel wrapped and calm. Stay behind me. The tall collector snarled, shouting past me toward the bedroom. Hey, whoever the hell you are, you open that safe. It's ours. The intruder's voice shot back, cold and mocking. Come take it. The hallway went still, everyone frozen. My daughter clutching my back, 2 armed wolves at my chest, a jackal in my room with my life's work in his hands. And then the safe door clicked open. The metallic click rang out like a gunshot. Even through the chaos, I knew the sound. My safe. Open. Every muscle in my body locked. 30 years of service. A lifetime of habits, all stored in that steel box. My medals. My wife's letters. My savings. My life. And now it was wide open for a stranger in black. The tall collector's eyes flicked toward my bedroom. Hunger flashing like an animal scenting meat. You hear that, he hissed. Jackpot. Aurora clutched my arm. Dad. Stay down, I told her. My voice came out like gravel. The big one shoved forward, pistol raised. Move, old man. Safe's ours. I tightened my grip on the bat, positioning myself between them and the hallway. You step through me. You'll regret it. The tall one sneered. Cute, playing soldier again. I never stopped, I said. From my bedroom, drawers slammed, papers shuffled. The intruder's voice echoed. Got it? Cash, bonds, everything. We're good. Roderick's panic wail followed. Wait, don't take it all. At least give me something. Aurora gasped. Oh my God. The tall collector barked. H-E-Y, that hall's ours. He stormed forward, gun raised toward the bedroom. I swung the bat in a flash, knocking his arm wide. The gun fired. plaster exploding from the wall inches from Aurora's head. She screamed, ducking behind me. The big one cursed, lunging, but I jammed the bat into his gut, forcing him back a step. My arms burned, but adrenaline kept me moving. Upstairs, hallway turned to battlefield. The intruder burst from my bedroom, duffel bag in hand, my safe hanging open behind him. He ran straight for the stairs. "Stop him," the tall collector roared. Roderick stumbled out after him, glitter still clinging to his skin. "Wait, that's mine. That's supposed to be mine." The intruder didn't even slow. He shoved Roderick into the wall like trash and kept running. I shifted to block the stairs, bat raised. For 1 second, our eyes locked, his black mask my fury. He smirked and reached inside his jacket. Gun. I swung. Hard. The bat connected with his wrist, the gun clattering across the floor. He snarled, kicking me square in the chest. Pain exploded through my ribs. I fell back a step, sucking air. Aurora screamed my name. The intruder snatched the weapon up, bag clutched tight, and bolted down the stairs. The collector shoved past me, chasing him like wolves after prey. The tall one shouted, "Don't let him get away." The big one fired down the stairwell, bullets sparking off wood. Roderick scrambled after them, shouting like a lunatic, "It's mine! It's all mine!" Aurora grabbed my arm, tears streaming down her face. "Dad, stop them. They'll kill each other." I staggered to my feet, chest on fire, but my head clear. I looked down the stairwell, shadows, shouts, chaos. My camera feed still recording every second. "Dad, please," Aurora whispered. "What do we do?" Below us, the intruder slammed the front door open. Night air rushed in. Tires squealed outside, the sound of an engine waiting. The tall collector cursed. "He's got backup." The big one fired again. Roderick screamed. Aurora clutched me harder, voice breaking. "Dad." And then a second gunshot cracked, louder than all the rest. One of them fell. The gunshot cracked the night open, louder than the rest. Final. For half a second, no one moved. The echoes rolled to the house, bouncing off walls, rattling in my bones. Then a body hit the floor. Aurora gasped, covering her mouth. I leaned over the stairwell, just enough to see. The big collector was down, clutching his shoulder, blood spilling between his fingers. His gun clattered uselessly across the hardwood. "Son of A," he groaned, teeth bared in pain. The tall one spun, wild-eyed. "You idiot! You let him shoot you." "I didn't let." The big one spat, but his voice dissolved into a grunt of agony. The intruder was already at the front door, duffel bag still in his grip. He looked back once, smirk flashing beneath the half-mask, then vanished into the dark outside. Headlights flared through the open doorway. A car idled in the street, engine growling. "Back up! Move!" The tall collector shouted, grabbing Roderick by the shirt. "He's getting away." Roderick flailed, glitter sparkling with every frantic motion. "No, that's my money. Mine!" Aurora whispered, trembling behind me. "Dad, this is insane." "No," I said, voice iron. "This is war." I bolted down the hall, bat in hand. Every bone screaming, but every instinct sharp. Aurora followed halfway, then froze at the top of the stairs. "Dad, don't." I glanced back. "Stay upstairs." Locked the door. Her eyes burned, wet with tears. "Please, just come back alive." I gave her the smallest nod, then stormed down the staircase. At the bottom, chaos reigned. The tall collector was dragging the bleeding big one toward the door. Roderick clawed at the duffel strap, babbling like a madman. "It's mine, it's mine. I told you I could fix this." The tall collector swung the butt of his gun into Roderick's jaw. My son-in-law crumpled, glitter falling like snow over his unconscious body. I stepped into the foyer, bat raised. "It ends here." The tall one's gun swung toward me. His eyes were pure fury. "Old man, you just signed your death warrant." But the sound outside changed everything. Tires squealed louder. The car door slammed. Heavy boots hit pavement. Not one set. Multiple. The tall collector froze, rage replaced by dread. "Oh no!" Through the open doorway, 3 new figures appeared, shadows backlit by headlights. Broad shoulders, heavy coats. The kind of posture you only get when you spent too much time breaking bones. The intruder hadn't been working alone. He'd brought an army. The tallest of the new men stepped forward, voice like gravel dragged across steel. "Where's the bag?" The tall collector raised his pistol, desperate. "Back off. It's ours." The leader didn't even blink. "Not anymore." Behind me, Aurora screamed from upstairs. "Dad." I lifted the bat higher, chest tight, every nerve ready to snap. My house, my daughter, my life's work, all of it balanced on the edge of this moment. And then the leader lifted his hand. Not with a gun, with a grenade. The leader held it high, fingers wrapped around the body, pin curled between his teeth. A grenade. In my house. Everything inside me froze. Aurora's scream ripped down from upstairs. "Dad." The tall collector cursed under his breath, pistol trembling. "You're insane. You'll kill all of us." The leader spat the pin onto my floorboards. The tiny metallic ting echoed like a church bell. "That's the point," he said calmly. "Bag. Now." My chest went tight, ribs screaming where the intruder had kicked me earlier. I'd faced IEDs, roadside bombs, artillery. But seeing that small steel egg of death held steady in a stranger's hand inside my living room, that was a different kind of war. The big collector moaned on the floor, clutching his wound. Roderick lay unconscious. Glitter spread like cheap confetti around his crumpled body. And Aurora, God, she was upstairs, one bad decision away from being turned into shrapnel. I raised my voice, steady, commanding. "You drop that thing in here, and nobody walks out alive." The leader smiled. "That's leverage, old man. You know how it works." The tall collector shifted his aim between the grenade and the door. "Don't you see?" He's bluffing. He doesn't want to die either. But I saw the man's eyes. Cold, empty. The kind of eyes that had already decided everyone else's life was expendable. "Not a bluff," I said quietly. Aurora's voice trembled from upstairs. "Dad, please." The leader turned his head toward her voice, and my blood boiled. "Pretty voice," he said. "Shame if she's the first to go. Leave her out of this." I barked, stepping forward. The tall collector suddenly lunged, desperate, trying to snatch the bag from the intruder's ally. "It's ours, damn it." The leader's hand twitched on the spoon of the grenade. For 1/6 I thought the world was about to end. I swung the bat. Hard. The wood cracked against the tall collector's wrist. His gun flew, clattering across the floor. He howled in rage. The leader turned back to me, eyes burning. "You want to be a hero, old man? Let's see how fast you are." He raised the grenade higher, then hurled it. Time slowed. The steel canister arced across the foyer, spinning, clattering once against the wall before landing in the middle of the staircase, right between me and Aurora. Her terrified eyes locked on mine. My body moved before thought. Every nerve screamed one word. Move. The grenade rolled once, twice. The spoon popped free. And then the world went white. The world detonated in light. A flash, a roar, then the kind of silence that isn't silence at all. It's ringing, piercing, like the inside of your skull has become a bell. I hit the floor hard. Heat clawed at my skin, splinters raining down like sharp rain. The blast didn't level the house. Grenade must have been flashbang, not frag, but the shockwave shook every bone I had left. Aurora. I screamed, but it came out muffled, drowned under the ringing in my ears. I staggered to my feet, chest on fire, lungs coughing smoke. The staircase was blackened, half the banister blown apart. My walls. Pocked with scorch marks and glitter from earlier, a grotesque mix of war and party. Through the haze, I saw her. Aurora, on the landing, curled against the wall, hands over her head. Alive. Shaken, but alive. Relief buckled my knees. For half a second, nothing else mattered. Then I remembered where we were. Figures moved in the smoke. Shapes. Shadows. The tall collector coughed. Stumbling, one hand pressed at his temple. The big one was still groaning on the floor, blood mixing with dust. Roderick twitched, barely conscious. mumbling nonsense through glitter-coated lips. And then him, the leader, still standing, teeth bared in a grin. See? Makes a point, doesn't it? He tapped the empty pouch on his vest. Next one won't be so polite. My grip tightened on the bat, though my arms shook from the blast. You bring war into my house. You'd better finish it. He smirked. That's the plan. From outside, the car engine revved. The intruder in black had made it to the street, duffel bag in hand. The safe. My life. Leaving. The tall collector roared, stumbling toward the door. That's OURS. The leader shoved him back with one hand. You're done here. Gunfire erupted outside, short bursts controlled. Whoever was waiting in that car wasn't just muscle. They were soldiers. The intruder had friends. Armed friends. Aurora's voice broke through the chaos, high and sharp. Dad, they're going to take everything. I looked at her, tears streaking through soot on her face. She wasn't wrong. My savings, my medals, my wife's letters, they were about to vanish into the night. I steadied myself, chest heaving. Not if I can help it. I lunged toward the door, bat raised. The leader's grin widened. He stepped into my path, blocking me like a wall. Old man, he said softly, almost with respect, you've got fight. I'll give you that. He drew a knife, long and black, gleaming even through the smoke. But fight runs out. He slashed. I jumped back, with splintering as the blade bit into my bat. Behind him, the tall collector dove for a drop pistol. Aurora screamed again, and then through the smoke upstairs, I heard a sound that froze me cold. A second beep, beep, beep. Not from the safe. From something else. Small, metallic, another grenade, armed. This one hidden in my house, and ticking down. The beeping sliced through the smoke. Short, sharp, mechanical. I knew that rhythm. I'd heard it overseas too many times to ever mistake it. Another grenade. Live. Aurora's scream tore down the hall. Dad. My blood iced. I spun toward the sound, searching to the haze, lungs burning. The leader was grinning, knife still dripping splinters from my bat. Surprise, he said. One bang was just a warm-up. The tall collector froze, pistol in his hand but trembling. You lunatic, you'll kill us all. The leader shrugged. Collateral. The beeping grew louder, faster, upstairs, close to where Aurora was. I charged. My body remembered how, even if my knees screamed otherwise. I barreled past the tall collector, shoving him against the wall. He fired wild, shot cracking into the ceiling. Plaster rained down. Aurora cried out again. Stay down. I shouted. I hit the landing, choking on smoke, my ears straining. The beeping echoed through the hallway, like a metronome of death. I scanned closet, dresser, guest room, until I saw it. A small metal cylinder tucked against the baseboard outside Aurora's door, LED light pulsing red. My gut twisted. Flashbang or frag, it didn't matter. Too close to her. Too close to everything. Aurora's face appeared in the crack of her doorway, eyes wide, terrified. Dad, don't move. I barked. Her breath hitched, but she froze. Behind me, heavy footsteps. The leader was coming up, knife still ready. His voice was low, taunting. Tick-tock, soldier boy. Let's see if you've still got the hands for it. The beeping accelerated. Faster. Faster. 10 seconds? Maybe less. My mind split. Disarm. Throw it. Shield her. Every option meant risk. Every option could end with her gone. I dropped to my knees. Hands steadied on my chest thundered. I disarmed worse. I'd done it under fire. But this wasn't a war zone. This was my home. My daughter's life. Aurora whispered, tears streaking her face. Dad, please. The leader laughed behind me, closer now. Go ahead. Be the hero. My fingers found the pin housing. Sweat slicked my grip. The beeping screamed in my ears. 5 seconds? 4? Then another sound. A gun cocking. Not the collector's. Not mine. From behind the leader, down the smoke-filled hall, came a new voice. Cold. Steady. Step away from him. Now. The leader froze. I looked up. Through the haze stood the intruder in black, duffel bag still in his hand, pistol raised. The one who'd robbed me, the one who'd set this all in motion. And now, he was pointing his gun straight at the leader's head. The grenade kept screaming. The grenade screamed in my ears, its red light pulsing like a heartbeat about to stop. My fingers hovered on the housing, sweat dripping, lungs choking on smoke. Behind me, the leader's knife gleamed, his grin sharper than steel. "Go on, Titus," he whispered. "Be the hero. Die with her." And then, the intruder in black spoke again, gun leveled at the leader's head. I said, "Step away." The hallway froze. Aurora's terrified eyes flipped between them. Then Demi crouched over the grenade. "Dad," she whispered, voice breaking, "please." 3 seconds. Maybe 2. I yanked the spoon back, twisted the housing. My hands remembered. Old drills, bomb squads, war zones. Not perfect, never perfect. But muscle memory carried me where hope failed. Click. The beeping stopped. Silence slammed the house. Aurora gasped, covering her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks, but she was alive. The leader snarled, stepping forward with the knife raised. "You think that saves you?" The intruder pulled his trigger. 1 shot. Precise. The leader's body hit the wall, then slid to the floor, knife clattering useless beside him. The gun's echo faded. The intruder's masked face turned to me. Calm. Detached. "Bag stays with me." He didn't wait for an answer. He turned, duffel slung over his shoulder, and vanished down the stairs, into the night. Engine roared outside. Tires screamed. Gone. Aurora rushed forward, collapsing into my arms. I held her tight, feeling her heartbeat hammer against mine. The grenade lay silent on the floor, still smoking, like some demon chained at the last second. Downstairs, the collectors groaned, the tall one clutching his wrist, the big one bleeding on my floor. Their fight was gone. Without their leader, without the bag, they were just broken men. Roderick stirred in the corner, glitter clinging to his swollen face. His voice came out cracked, pathetic. "Aurora, baby, I did it for us." She tore free of me and rounded on him, eyes blazing through tears. "No, you did it for yourself. You nearly killed my father. You nearly killed me. We're done, Roderick. We've been done for a long time." His mouth opened, then closed. No excuse left. He sank back against the wall, smaller than I'd ever seen him. Sirens wailed in the distance. Neighbors must have called when the shooting started. Blue and red lights flickered, faintly through the broken front door. Aurora clung to me again. Her voice cracked. "Dad, if you hadn't, I would," I said softly, pressing my forehead to hers. "Every time, no matter what." The sirens grew louder. The collectors cursed under their breath. Roderick whimpered. But for the first time in weeks, hell, maybe years, I felt peace settle in my chest. My house had been a battlefield. My trust had been betrayed. My life had been ransacked. And I was still standing. When the cops stormed minutes later, Aurora never let go of my hand. She didn't have to. They dragged the collectors out, hauled Roderick up like a sack of shame. Statements would be taken, reports written. The bag was gone. My money, my medals, my past, all in the wind. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the woman gripping my hand. Alive. Safe. Stronger now, forged in fire. Later, when the house was empty again, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the wreckage. Aurora brewed coffee, her hand steady despite the smoke still clinging to her hair. She set the cup in front of me, kissed my forehead. "Dad," she said, voice quiet but certain, "you saved me." I smiled, weary but unbroken. That's my job. The morning light broke through the cracked windows, catching the glitter still scattered across the floor. Gold and silver, stubborn, impossible to sweep away. A reminder of betrayal and survival. Sometimes justice doesn't shine in a courtroom. Sometimes it sparkles in the ashes. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right.